Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Great Malabite Efeni. Good morning, Malabite. Action.
Action. Fellow Malabite. Fellow Malabite. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, Ajesua.
Good morning.
Looking gracious, sparkling in that yellow outfit.
That is a Perusa. That is a Perusa. That is a Perusa. I charge you for perusination.
Now, let's go straight to the review of the newspapers. And we are starting with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of records. The lead story: appointment of new IG awaits Buhari's return from Daura. Adamu remains in office pending presidential directive. President won't appoint service chiefs based on ethnicity, says presidency. Yes, the wait is on. And of course, Mohammed Adamu, the Inspector General of Police, was billed to retire yesterday. He's still in office pending when a new appointment to fill the position will be made. But these days, quoting presidency's sources, that yesterday, of course, the president yesterday launched pushback over agitation for the appointment of service chiefs along ethnic lines, saying that they talk about merit and appointment will be done on merit. But yesterday, this day reported, and it is on record, that the Police Service Commission, led by Muslim Smith, himself a former Inspector General of Police, submitted a short list of 3 names to the president to pick from, and of course identified one, Moses Jotibo, as the most qualified, and he has 8 years more to serve this country. Now, the presidency, according to this day, and that is on record, Ruben, asked that they should go and expand the list, which now brought in commissioner police officers who were promoted assistant inspector general of police only last week. So we'll keep a watch and see whether the presidency will follow its much touted merit as a basis for appointing the new Inspector General of Police, as it has indeed done in the case of the service chiefs. Now, the Vanguard newspaper, if we look at the Vanguard newspaper, yes, presidency replies Ohaneze Northern elders, AFG not appointing police based on ethnicity, just as we have discussed. Now, the COVID-19 cases still very much on and reported by a number of newspapers. The Nation newspaper, PTF, COVID-19 killed 405 Nigerians in 2 months. 75 doctors infected in 1 week. 57 million vaccine doses to come in batches. Kogi declared high-risk state. Yes, the Daily Trust is also reporting on the same story. Federal government directive on COVID-19 flouted in states. 100 people sentenced in Abuja, 19 in Edo. Inspector General orders clamp down on violators. Kogi declared high risk, persuasion key to observing protocols according to experts. Now, the News Direct newspaper reporting COVID-19, PTF declared Kogi high risk state, warns Nigerians not to visit, while the Nigerian Tribune newspaper is reporting reps to begin probe of 83.9 billion COVID-19 funds. How money was disbursed? IGP orders enforcement of face mask use. Now, the Guardian newspaper, Nigeria's The Guardian newspaper, is reporting be first to take coronavirus vaccine. That's the Christian Association of Nigeria, tells government officials, demands Buhari political office holders be vaccinated publicly. Don't listen to conspiracy theories, SGF tells Khan. Now, Khan is saying government officials should take first and publicly. When they do, when these first 100,000 doses arrive, I hope we will not accuse them of taking care of themselves first, because Khan is saying they should take first to encourage other Nigerians. So we move on. Now the Daily Independent newspaper writes in its lead story, federal government vows to jail defaulters of COVID-19 protocols. While, of course, the Punch newspaper is reporting on a different story. Herdsmen invite armed kinsmen to dominate Oyo farms, says Monarch. Herders cutting down cocoa trees, burning cashew plantations, according to a traditional ruler. Oyo plans to compensate victims. Communities welcomes Makinde with protests. Now, Ogun, silent on Igboho's visit, says Abiodun's aide misquoted in alleged invitation. Yes, Sunday Adeyemo, aka Sunday Igboho, has arrived in Ogun State. Reports says he was invited, government denying they did not invite him, but he's there to ensure that perhaps the forests and the farms of Ogun State are also saved from killer herders. Now, the foreign newspaper, we just look at the Guardian newspaper of UK. The Guardian newspaper of UK. South African variant cases trigger sprint to curb spread in Britain. Yes, firefighters drafted in to assist with mass testing in infection hotspots. Now, in the UK, because of the fear of the South African variant of the COVID-19 virus, there's this 2-week sprint to ensure that as many people as possible are tested because of the variant, the South African variant, which is more transmissible than the usual virus, which we have the original virus, which we have come to know. But the South African variant is more transmissible, and of course, the government in UK, they are worried because it's already there. But they want to contain the spread, and as such, they have mobilized squads of health officials, firefighters, and volunteers to collect the samples from door to door to test as many as possible, especially in the areas they consider as hotspots. Now, Reuben, Rufai, and Adesuwa, I will not end without saying something on Prince Tony Mormont, who has passed away. Reuben, you said so much, you did justice to that, but I just want to pull back an aspect not so emphasized. While he was Minister of Information and Culture, that was when Nollywood started blossoming. And he usually takes credit for creating that environment. I remember visiting him for an interview. In his study, he showed me a lineup that, as at that time, he had every copy of video cassette, which was the in thing then, of every Nollywood video released in Nigeria. I don't know whether I was able to keep pace with streaming and other forms of watching the movie, but he usually takes credit for that. And I think we should give it to him. He was Minister of Information and Culture when Nollywood became a hit, and he has a record. I'm sure, I want to believe his studies should be of interest to scholars, journalists, and of course, the culture community in Nigeria.
And real quickly, Mr. Feni, I just hope that his study you talked about, people can salvage those books and turn them into a museum for this country. Because you see, we lose a lot of great materials from great intellectuals like the society. We just let them go to waste. I just hope all his books, all those compilations of the first Nollywood film, they can turn it into a museum in his honor, so that other people and generations yet on board can go there and study about this man and learn more about what he stood for. I pray somebody's listening to that now, and I hope the Edo State government, I've put it on the neck of Governor Obaseki to do what I have just said. Please, turn that place into a museum.
Because for most of the his life. He practiced in Lagos.
Well, if any, I mean, I'm not surprised that you also feel obliged to pay tribute to a man who was an icon of our profession, who was a legend, who was a symbol, and who was a man that we all look up to in many respects in our profession. What I did not add the other time, that he was also a very spiritual personality. I think he was, an adherent of the Abdurrahman principle. I think he was a cross bearer. And that gave him a certain level, of calmness, of understanding about nature, about human beings, and generally. Anyway, we will miss him. But the other point is that the appointment of the Inspector General of Police should not be subjected to partisan politics. But let us have something very clear. Section 215, subsection 3 of the Constitution gives the President of Nigeria absolute powers over the appointment of the Inspector General of Police. In fact, there are even ouster clauses in terms of the powers of the President with regard to the office of the Inspector General of Police. So everyone should just calm down. But we expect the President to do what is right, to choose the best man for the job, who will address the challenges that we have with regard to the Nigeria Police. The bigger challenge, of course, will be that of reform. Finally, something of interest to me is the editorial in today's Day on Justice Ikpeme, who has now been confirmed as the Chief Judge of Cross River State. That was a big issue.
Yes.
Where she came from, whether she was a valid person, having worked all her life in Cross River State, married to a Cross River man, producing children. When it became her turn to become Chief Judge, politics started.
They were looking for where she came from. Yeah,
and which is a major issue about gender discrimination in Nigeria. We are glad that that has been resolved, and this day editorial is well chosen, and it's titled Justice Ikpeme, the Triumph of Reason. We congratulate Justice Ikpeme that reason has prevailed at the end of the day, and we hope, as the Chief Law Officer of Cross River State, she will ensure that the Temple of Justice is protected, and that she justifies her emergence as the Chief Judge of that state. And all the politicians who try to play gender politics will learn a lesson from this. Well, we understand we have breaking news. Thank you very much, Emmanuel Feni.
All right, the quick breaking news. The period of registration for the National Identification Number has been extended by 8 weeks. We'll bring you more details in subsequent bulletin. The period of the registration and linking of your NIN number, National Identification Number, has been extended by 8 weeks. And I think this should now terminate around the 9th of April or thereabouts. It's been extended by another 8 weeks. So now to be able to link your NIN, you still have up till April now, but it doesn't stop you from still going out there, to get your NIN, and that news is just filtering.
Well, I think it's a good development. Yeah. This is what the people asked for. This is what they expected. And this will give people more time. All the 174 agencies contracted by NIMSI, and also the telecom companies that are now involved in the registration process, it will help. Because there's no point punishing the Nigerian people to achieve a good objective.
Right. Everybody called for this in the media, and it's finally here. In case you missed it once again, to register your name now, you have up till April, 8 weeks away, to register your name.